Hello everyone and welcome back guys to episode 29 of the Unnamed Motorsport podcast. Yes, today Jamie and I are back to review the very, very interesting Brazilian Grand Prix. But yeah, 29 episodes in, Jamie. How you doing this week, mate?
Pretty good. The house is taking shape. I've moved in for longer than 24 hours this week.
Yep.
So, very nice.
Yeah, we did get him to do a podcast as he was trying to move boxes around his house. The dedication to the fans. You love to see it. But,
my day's been very good today because Guan Yu Zhou's been announced at Alfa Romeo. So.
Yes, yeah, we should probably talk about that first, shouldn't we? At the time of recording this, we don't quite know when. I'm going to guess it's going to be early today, but it's actually
Chinese
tomorrow.
time.
Exactly, it's going to be announced for China. So, at the time of recording this, Guan Yu Zhou hasn't been confirmed to Alfa Romeo, but by the time you're watching this, he probably has. So, yeah, a bit gutted, obviously, that Oscar Piastri hasn't been given the shot this year, but
he'll get a chance in the future for sure.
Guan Yu Zhou's about to get slapped. Yeah, Guan Yu Zhou's about to get slapped by Valtteri Bottas next year. But, yeah, the way this one kind of got confirmed was rather funny, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't it was it a Renault dealership in China? Or was it an Alfa Romeo? Anyway, some car dealership just put congratulations Zhou up in their
First
store.
Chinese Formula 1 driver, yeah. You know, if I owned an Australian dealership, I definitely would have put the same thing up with Piastri just to confuse people. Just like a random Daihatsu dealer just puts that up. But yeah, so at least, we get one new rookie on the grid for next year. It's probably not the one I think a lot.
2022.
Yeah, unfortunately so, but yeah, I think not quite the person a lot of us would have wanted. And I think even you can argue Piastri probably deserves it more.
Probably, but I don't care. I'm happy.
Fair enough. But anyway, yeah, moving on though to the Brazilian Grand Prix, then there was already a bit of controversy before we even got into the weekend. Mercedes confirmed they'd be giving Lewis Hamilton a new power unit, Jamie, and that meant immediately a 5-place grid penalty.
Yeah, and immediately way better top end speed like we saw in when was it, Turkey, where he was just a bullet on a straight because he got a new power unit.
Yep. Now, be honest though, you didn't really think that until we got to race day, did you?
Well, the sprint race it was
earlier. Yeah, the sprint race I sort of meant by that. But before that, you were just thinking, well, this is it. This is Max's title.
This is Verstappen's win, easy. 1-2 for Max and Checo.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yeah. But even on Friday morning, watching Free Practice 1, you could tell this was a weekend where Hamilton was going to do everything.
He was so on it. It was incredible, to be fair. And especially in the Friday night qualifying. What was it, half a second almost?
Just under, yeah. 4.5 tenths to Max Verstappen.
In a minute and 10 lap.
Less than that,
incredible.
67 seconds.
Yeah.
Was kind of insane. Yeah, and I think, like I said, obviously, we saw Hamilton, even in free practice, he was doing, maxed out, almost like F1 game time trial lines, trying to absolutely maximise the track width.
Yeah.
He's on the white lines, on the braking zones everywhere, really trying to get everything out of that Mercedes.
Yeah, but to be fair, I saw it in the race as well. Perez and Verstappen were perilously close to the grass on the entry to turn 4.
Yes, yeah.
It was incredible.
But turn 4's odd though, because you sort of get that weird little bit right towards the brake, in the braking zone, where the track actually gets wider again.
Yeah, so you're quite safe going on the white line. But I still wouldn't be playing it that close when you've got a championship to lose.
No, exactly. And this is why these guys are paid millions of pounds a year, and we moan about league racing.
Yep.
But yeah, so like you said though, Lewis Hamilton picks up pole position for the sprint race, half a second clear of Max Verstappen. We think, great, he's going to start the rear race from P6. And then it all kicks off, doesn't it?
Yep. Because Christian Horner notices, or someone at Red Bull notices anyway, I think it was AG Newey, gave the FIA a bit of a tip off before qualifying that Mercedes' rear wing was too wide when it opened DRS, which took for some reason almost 24 hours to actually them to decide a penalty, which is quite obviously going to be a disqualification because it's technically infringement. Because Mercedes dragged out as long as they could by saying that Verstappen broke it by resting his thumb on the rear wing, which was quite amusing. But
that wasn't the only issue with it, remember?
What was the other issue? I didn't see that.
It was 0.2 millimetres over. So, obviously, first of all, Mercedes was saying, obviously, they've tested it before and it didn't fail. It must have been a part failure. in qualifying. It wasn't something they did on purpose, which a lot of people were adamant they were deliberately trying to cheat. If you're going to do that, you don't do it by 0.2 millimeters.
And also, why would you design a car to be against the rules?
Exactly.
Because that's just stupid. You find loopholes. You don't just explicitly...
Yeah, a black and white rule. You don't just go, we're not going to do that. It's fine, lads. Yeah, and obviously you had all the stuff about Max Verstappen as well, which, let's be fair, if you're in Mercedes' shoes, it's 0.2 millimeters. Of course you're going to claim Max has done something to it, or that they can't prove
ridiculous.
Max didn't do something to it.
They know
of course.
for a fact how stiff that carbon fibre is. Like, I work with this stuff at uni all the time. You can't bend it. So him resting his thumb on the rear wing was not going to do anything.
Yes, yeah, but you sort of think they've got nothing to lose by doing that either, do you?
Yeah, they were just... It's like the little schoolboy. Oh, he did it first, or he messed up as well. It's like...
Yeah, well, it's that whole you can't guarantee that's not what happened there. Is sort of their whole ploy in that situation.
Well, the FA threw out that claim, and Verstappen got a reprimand and a fine.
He got a €50,000 fine for that.
And they said on Sky Sports, because obviously Hamilton got disqualified, Verstappen then got the pole bonus for qualifying on pole.
His pole bonus is more than 50 grand. Yeah, I mean, again, I never sort of understand... like, when people get upset by fines in Formula 1, unless it's some Spygate $100 million, most of them are meaningless to the teams.
And what was the Racing Point one last year? Was that 15?
15,000 euros, wasn't it? It was less than that, wasn't it? I thought.
That's stupid. I mean, the points lost was actually significant because they lost third place. But still. I don't get... the FIA are made...
Sorry, 400,000 euros.
Yeah, that's pocket change to Lawrence Stroll.
Yeah.
Like... It's weird why they even do fines, because every team is so rich that it makes no difference unless it's like tens of millions.
Yeah, I'm guessing obviously it helps the FIA with certain, obviously like logistics and stuff and Formula 1 and all this, that and the other. But
they're not exactly struggling though, the amount they charge for tickets.
Well, exactly. This is the problem. But I mean, it all helps, doesn't it, I suppose? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's always a bit ridiculous. Like, I remember, a few years back when Ferrari were fined like €500 for speeding. Like Ferrari are a team that had an operating budget of €500 million.
Yeah.
They're going to go, wait, money comes in... Is there like a coin for 500 yet? Or it's just insanity.
Yeah. Lewis Hamilton had about 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane. But yeah, so we ended up with Max Verstappen on pole ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Then we get to sprint race Saturday. And immediately there's a bit of spice involved, isn't there, Jamie? Because a lot of drivers have gone mediums, but you have a few on the softs.
Which was kind of to be expected. We saw it in Silverstone where Alonso went on softs and it was like a crazy good start, and then everyone else, like you, just defending the rest of the race because the softs died earlier, obviously. But Bottas on the softs got a very, very good start, to be fair to Valtteri Bottas. He does seem to pull out... It's like, he goes one with the other. He's either like amazing starts or useless. And this time it was a pretty good one. So
yeah,
he took the lead into turn one. Verstappen had no chance of doing anything stupid, so he did.
Well, helped, to be fair, by Max Verstappen's gear mesh. Gear sync was out, wasn't it? Yeah. Which apparently is an issue they've had a lot this year.
Yeah, it's electronical. So obviously, formation lap or on the way to the grid, you go through all the gears to sync up the basically faster shifting, which on the way to the grid or something must have just reset and lost all the gear sync. So
which is a very, very strange issue to have, isn't it? I reckon that might have been what happened to him at Mugello last year.
It wasn't that bad though, surely. That was just no power straight away. I reckon that was a bigger failure.
Possibly, yeah. You might be right there, to be fair. But yeah, so immediately we see Max get jumped, by Bottas off the start. Nothing he can do to defend himself.
Actually.
Sainz as well, was the big man off the start, wasn't he? Went from fifth?
Up into
wasn't
second place by turn 4.
Yeah, got straight past. Was it Charles Leclerc in front of him, wasn't it? On the grid.
Yeah.
Leclerc was 4th.
Perez.
Yeah, and then obviously Perez and Max
Gasly,
as well.
Gasly was 4th and got a terrible start.
Yes, yeah, no, you are right, aren't you? Yeah, so Carlos Sainz, out one-lapped Charles Leclerc. And then, of course, managed to get past 3 Honda-powered cars in the first 4 corners, which was brilliant to see. Didn't last long, though. Again, lap 4, Max Verstappen just flew back past him, which we weren't really surprised about. We also had...
surprised by
Were we?
The rest of the race, not by Verstappen, but the rest of the race where Sainz just stayed in third, which is quite surprising. Perez.
Yeah, Perez just couldn't do anything about it, which was rather odd. I mean, we had Kimi and Gio collide early as well, as they both went past Alonso, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, and probably neither of their faults, really. I don't think either expected the other one to still be there after both passing Alonso. But
I'd argue Kimi's fault. He turned in on someone.
Yeah, but he's completely blindsided. There's no way he knew it was there.
yeah, I suppose. Old washed up man, I get it.
Well, it's still better than Gio, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, whilst all this is going on, you can't rattle off every overtake Hamilton made in the sprint race, but basically anything we talk about from the sprint race, Hamilton has made another place up as it's going on.
Every single lap,
he's just flying past people, left, right, and centre. He gets stuck a little bit, doesn't he, behind Ricciardo? Because Ricciardo, Vettel, and
Ocon?
Norris. No, Norris. No, you are right. It was Ocon, wasn't it?
Yeah,
at the front of that little group.
DRS train, so couldn't get past straight away like league racing DRS trains back again.
Yes, yeah.
But eventually got the ball and just kept on driving really fast. So
Exactly. I mean, we saw Lando Norris make a good move on Charles Leclerc as well.
Yeah, Leclerc tried to kill him on the straight, surprisingly. But Norris didn't care, went past him up into, what was, 5th? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, 5th place at the time. And then, of course, I think move of the day was Lewis's last lap lunge on Lando, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Try saying that 5 times over.
Yeah, it was... I mean, looking at it in the camera angle we had on the live TV, it was like, he's never getting that slowed down. But then when you look on the onboards, it's a lot more in control than it looked, but still...
Yes, yeah. I never really sort of got that vibe from the offboard, in all honesty.
I just thought Norris looked like he was lining up an undercut, which made me think that Hamilton was going to go deep, but then he just didn't. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always weird, isn't it, Sao Paulo Turn 1, because of the banking, you can really dive it into the apex early.
Like 60 metres almost. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. In towards that first corner. But there we go then, the sprint race. Bottas takes home the win ahead of Max and Carlos Sainz. Then we had Perez 4th and Hamilton, 24 laps, goes from 20th to 5th. And we're like, this man is on a mission this weekend. Obviously,
gonna win.
After the disqualification, well, not definitely going to win, but you sort of think you can't really discount anything here in the race, can you? Obviously, starts P10 for the real race, and this was sort of always a bit odd, isn't it, with the sprint racing, because Hamilton technically got disqualified from something before qualifying began.
Yeah. And then served a penalty.
Served a disqualification before... Yeah, it's just very odd, isn't it? Just like the whole rules for it as well. But yeah, so getting into the race then, we got Hamilton starting P10, Bottas on the pole ahead of Max and Carlos Sainz. But yeah, immediately then there's controversy once more at the start of the race. Bottas gets jumped by Max in basically the same way he jumped Max in the sprint race, except for Max, I think a lot of people didn't spot this early on, did they? Max basically did a Montoya on him into T1.
Yeah, he kind of ran him off the road. But we're slightly used to that with Max, aren't we? Like, he's going to get away with it, so...
Yeah, which I'm not a fan of, I'm going to be honest.
I'm not a big fan of either, but like...
It's not great.
I also think Bottas was a little bit ambitious trying to keep it that around the outside.
Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it, of if you can keep it around the outside at turn 1, you sort of get the inside for turn 2, and it can force someone wide on the exit, but this is Bottas, he's not going to do that.
Yeah, he's not going to do that at all. He's not aggressive enough, so... But even before that... Sainz got a pretty bad start. Norris tries to go around the outside, right? The wall with the fans there, the outside wall. That's what it's called.
I don't think Sainz was trying to do that because he had Perez and Leclerc on the inside.
He just
this was the problem.
And now had to go on the outside and came across him a bit too early and got a puncture, so straight to the back. And
that was basically Lando's afternoon done and dusted, really, wasn't it? But yeah, so then obviously heading down in towards is it the Esquito de Largo into turn 4?
Yes.
Bottas, again, he's got Perez now applying the pressure. He's had a horrible run out of turn 1 and turn 2.
Not even really applying pressure, he just went wide.
He's round the outside, Perez.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I forgot that bit. But anyway, Bottas made a pretty unforced error, drove off the track.
Yep, just completely way too hot in, and then loses another place to Sergio Perez there.
As Red Bull 1-2.
And Leclerc almost got him as well.
Yeah, Leclerc did almost get him as well.
Yeah, the fact that at the end of that one, Red Bull have got a 1-2. Yeah, they're going, this weekend's over. Obviously, again, we must add, whilst all this is going on, Hamilton is just making overtakes left, right and centre.
Is that to 7th by end of lap 1?
He's up 3 places by the end of lap 1. We then see Yuki Tsunoda try to dive Lance Stroll on lap 4.
By this point, Hamilton's third, isn't he?
No, Hamilton's 4th at this point. No, yeah, 4th. 4th at this point.
And then Bottas let him through basically immediately before the safety car.
Yes, yeah. Thoughts on the Yuki on Lance, though?
I think Tsunoda was unlucky to get a penalty because we've seen
Couldn't agree with you more.
drivers send it from that far back because he wasn't out of control. He got it slowed down for the apex. It's just Stroll also wanted the apex, and a 2-into-1 doesn't work. But like we've seen plenty of times before where people like Ricciardo did it every single race back in when he was decent.
Yeah, and is
drivers just have to leave each other space.
And this is kind of the problem, isn't it? Because you've got drivers like Ricciardo and Max that people know they're going to do that sort of thing, so people are aware and ready to jump out the way.
Yeah, I guess Stroll wasn't expecting it at all. Didn't see him.
Well, Stroll's never. I'm not convinced Stroll really knows what he's doing a lot of the time. To be honest, he's kind of just there.
Dreadful anyway.
Yeah, so. He just this is what made me laugh at what was it, Portugal, with him and Max coming together.
Oh yeah.
In free practice, yeah, they're both as bad as each other. No wonder they came together.
Yeah, it's a good job they don't have to fight that often in the actual.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of insane, isn't it? But yeah, I think Yuki, he was definitely unlucky to get the penalty as well, wasn't he? But I think the FIA were trying to sort of stop these sorts of dive bombs coming in until later on. Then they didn't care anymore again. It seems like so much
the
to
contact rather than penalising the move.
Yeah, exactly. This is the problem, isn't it? They penalise based on the outcome still in a lot of situations, rather than the causation, which is frustrating. But I mean, yeah, we'll get into that a bit more soon. Obviously, yeah, Bottas lets Lewis by at the end of lap 4, start of lap 5, and then we get a safety car. So that obviously bunches up the field again.
So it basically makes Hamilton's starting position void because he was third at the start of the real race. So.
Whatever way you look at it, Max was really not good on the restart, in my opinion.
Really not good. He was leading after the restart.
Far too much weaving, far too late, though.
What do you mean?
I think we need to go back.
He's allowed to go up to the line.
Yeah, no, and this is what I'm saying. I think they need to revert the rule back.
Nah, it's
because it's getting ridiculous.
But like that's when you had it back in this third safety car line, back in whatever year it was.
Yeah.
You would have 22 cars, or I think it's now like 18, however many are left, driving it to turn 1, all on cold tyres and brakes at 200 miles an hour. And then a lot more accidents are likely to happen. Whereas,
but what we're finding at the moment is drivers are going so slow up to the line. It's just, we saw it at Mugello last year. It's just carnage.
But there wasn't any carnage in Brazil. It's just Mugello was when they all went and stopped loads.
Yeah, but they didn't stop loads though. This is the problem, obviously. The back markers try and catch back up as they're getting ready to go green.
It, don't they, and mess it up. But that's not the leader's fault at all.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not blaming Max for what he did as such. But those sorts of things I don't believe should be happening.
You're just saying
in the first
this
place.
If it was the third safety car line and Max had to tow Perez and Hamilton up the hill and probably loses the lead.
It didn't matter. Hamilton slapped him anyway. I'm saying it's just frustrating. Like, I don't like seeing that sort of thing. Because obviously all it then means is everyone's even bunched up more as you head into turn 1.
Yeah, but everyone's going so slowly that you can't go for any moves anyway.
They're not going so slowly, Jamie. It's a Formula 1 car.
But like, you're going 90 miles an hour over the start-finish line rather than 190. Yeah,
but even by turn 1, you're still...
They won't be going max speed at all. Come on.
They'll be doing like 140, I would have thought, into turn 1.
Well, we could probably argue about this forever, but I think it's fine as it is.
Third safety car line needs to come back. I'm sorry, it just does. But yeah, so we obviously the next few laps unfold. Lewis on lap 18 then gets around Sergio Perez after Perez begs the team to make Max give him DRS.
Yeah, which never
Max goes, no, you can get stuff, mate. I'm winning this all by myself.
Well, why would he slow down and get closer to Hamilton? It was a bit of a strange request.
Yeah, I can understand why Perez made the request.
Oh, yeah.
And it would have been nice to see some teamwork by them, but I can also think it probably wouldn't have made much difference long term.
No, probably not.
Perez might have been able to stay ahead of Bottas.
Well, that was just luck or bad luck on Perez's part with the VSC.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But yeah, then sort of the next few laps, it gets a bit weird, doesn't it? There's not really a lot going on. We sort of see everyone pit up between sort of like lap 15 and lap 20. And then, weirdly enough, Max Verstappen pits again on like lap 40.
Yeah, pretty early. I think they were incredibly keen not to get undercut, so just went insanely early.
Yeah.
Which
so
like it worked, I guess. They didn't lose the lead, but still.
But I mean, you could argue it didn't work at all because they lost. But yeah, it was very
was it?
Yeah, no, exactly. It was just very, very strange, wasn't it? Like they seemed so adamant they weren't going to get undercut. Like it just didn't really make sense.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense also from a Mercedes standpoint because they didn't really try anything different. They just sort of followed the consequential Red Bull in each time.
Yeah, it was.
Usually we see them go for mad like extensions and try and catch loads at the end and stuff.
Yeah, and this is. I mean, at that point, I thought, well, this is it. Then it's just going to be the top four going to the flag now.
I was hoping that was the case, but unfortunately not.
Yeah, didn't quite end up that way though. So we sort of see all of the top four sort of pit between like lap 40 and lap 45. I want to say there or thereabouts. Perez tried to stay out a couple of laps longer, like he always does, but it didn't really make much difference. Hamilton then takes a good 2.5 seconds out of Max again over like the next couple of laps around sort of the pit window time because the undercut just isn't really that strong here.
The undercut on the first stop was big. And then
no.
It was. He went from
Hamilton went before Max, didn't he?
Yeah.
Exactly, and a lot more of that I think was down to the car.
Yeah, probably.
Just because Hamilton was rapid this weekend. Yeah, it was. I think it was just.
I don't really understand.
Yeah, it was all very, very odd. But we sort of get to lap 48 then. Hamilton started applying more pressure to Max and it was all over the back of him getting the DRS. Into turn 1, Hamilton baits a move to the inside but pulls straight back out to the racing line. Max goes defensive. He compromises his run through turn 1, turn 2, and obviously out of the Senna S. Down into the Assetto Largo. Hamilton gets to the inside. Gets to the outside even, I should say, of Max Verstappen.
Takes the lead by
basically pretty much a car length in front. And Max just Max, you know, in that moment has gone, I'm braking later than him. I don't care where he brakes, I'm braking later than him.
Yeah, and both of them have to take off the track because Verstappen was on the inside, was just about ahead at the apex, to be fair to him, which is why...
There was no apex, Jamie, I'm sorry.
He was ahead.
There was no apex.
Well, obviously there was no apex.
There was no apex in that situation, is what I'm saying, yeah.
Like, by the apex of the corner, Verstappen did have his nose in front, which is why it wasn't penalised, in my opinion.
This is again where it gets difficult, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those rare occasions where Hamilton and Max have had an incident this year and we both think it should have been a penalty. Don't get me wrong, I think 5 or 10 seconds would have been fair.
5, yeah, I think it would have been 5 if it was anything, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
it was
very, very strange why it wasn't. I don't really understand.
Well, this is the FIA have claimed they can't get the camera, the onboard.
F1
from
TV
Max.
has the camera. You can pay £25 a month and get it for... No, I was going to say for free. It's not free.
Yeah. It just, I'm sorry. That doesn't slide as an excuse anyway.
And also, why do you need the onboard camera? You can judge what happened.
We can clearly see, Max has gone all out trying to just brake later than Lewis in that situation. He does, let's be fair, Max is in that situation. His mindset is, well, if we crash, I don't lose anything here. I'm going to lose 7 points if I let him by. If I don't, I walk out of this weekend 2 points further ahead in the title.
Yeah, which is absolutely fine for Verstappen. Which is, I think, why we've seen...
It's fine for Verstappen, but it's a dangerous mentality to have in a sport like this.
Yeah. But then we saw people like Senna had that mentality and everyone calls him the GOAT, so...
Yeah. Very, very different, though, I'd argue.
Is it?
Yes.
From not Italia, that's the football. From Suzuka 1990?
Remember, I'll say this before and I'll say this again to you, Jamie. Suzuka 90 was payback for Suzuka 89.
Oh, that makes it fine then, does it?
I mean, Prost deliberately took Senna out, Senna deliberately took Prost out.
Yeah.
Not great, but I don't genuinely believe Senna would have done that had he won 89. Had he been able to, or had he not been unfairly disqualified in 89, he still won the race. Yeah, insanity back in the day.
I don't know.
And this, I think, is
the end of their
why
careers, people look back on this year and say that's when you could tell Max was going to be a champion because he was willing to do stuff like that.
I think Max has proven on many other occasions this year he's willing to be a champion. I think this proves he's willing to do anything, which is just worrying. And I think, this was sort of the problem with it, wasn't it? Was a lot of people were saying, Max sort of made it to the apex first and all this, that, and the other. Max was never making that corner. I know a lot of people were trying to compare it to Kota. But the difference with a Hamilton doing some of these things sometimes, forcing someone out, is Hamilton makes the corner still. Hamilton keeps it between the white lines himself.
USA 2015 disagrees, but...
Hamilton stayed on the circuit, didn't he?
Only just, and by forcing...
He still made the corner.
By driving right through a left-hander. That was ridiculous. I should have felt it.
I mean, that was wet conditions as well. Don't get me wrong, not Hamilton's finest moment. I'm not going to argue against that. But it was wet conditions, which is another variable, and the start of a Grand Prix.
That was so... Yeah, I'm getting vented.
You're just getting upset now about completely the wrong thing.
Thinking about 2015, the amount of times he just drove Rosberg off the track.
Yeah, but Rosberg was nothing that year anyway. Rosberg spent the whole of 2015 off. Didn't Seb head into Kota or leave Kota ahead of Rosberg in the championship?
He went into Kota ahead, yeah.
Yeah, which is
but Rosberg
insanity.
Had so much bad luck that year, which people were happy.
And he was useless.
2016.
And he was useless. Don't get me wrong.
He wasn't useless.
But yeah, I think this was like the problem for me with this, and I know a lot of people were going, well, Hamilton ran him off the road at Silverstone. Had they not had contact at Silverstone, Hamilton would have made the corner then as well. Hamilton will go for dives, but he will never go for one where both drivers end up off the road. Can you think of a time when he has that wasn't Felipe Massa? Because I'm sure there's one there, probably.
Not off the top of my head. But then he's very rarely racing people because he's always had the best car. So.
Well, he's always miles ahead because he's the best driver. What?
We laugh.
No, this is what I... Right, who's better than Hamilton on the grid?
Verstappen.
No, not a better all-rounder.
We did a tier list a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, and we put 3 drivers better than Hamilton.
What, for this season?
Yeah, so
this hasn't been Hamilton's best year, but Hamilton as an all-round driver is still better than Max.
Oh, shut up. I'm not agreeing with that.
He is. I'm sorry, Jamie. This weekend proved why still. And
he was very, very good this weekend. This weekend he was better than Verstappen, but you take the whole season into account.
So his most recent result then, Jamie, based on your logic...
Oh, come on.
I'm going to use your words against you. I really am. Yeah. Hamilton is... Hamilton... No. Hamilton is... as good a qualifier as Max, probably better still, in terms of getting everything out of a car over one lap. He's done it 101 times.
Yeah, across about 50 years.
And he's got as good, if not better, race consistency as Max.
Verstappen has finished 1 and 2 in every clean race he's done this season. And the not clean races have never been his fault, arguably, apart from Italy.
Punctured those tyres at Baku by himself. Didn't see anyone hit him.
I'm not having this.
The difference between Max and Hamilton still, for me, the one that is clear cut, is racecraft.
I mean, Hamilton's definitely fairer.
Yeah, Hamilton's a lot better of a racer than Max in racecraft. Max does one of two things. He either puts the nose somewhere where he knows they're both going to crash, or he forces someone off the road.
Verstappen
sometimes
does
both.
Get out of the way a lot more.
Exactly.
Which probably isn't the best attitude to have. For
No. And this is the problem, isn't it? I know we've spoken about it a couple of times before this year. Formula 1 has very much dug itself a hole again, and we see this with more and more new drivers coming in.
The culmination of what the FIA were doing in 15, 16, 17, with allowing Verstappen to do whatever he wanted. Because as soon as he's in a title fight, like, he can still do whatever he wants because they've never knuckled down at him at all.
Yeah,
but if that's the way they want to go,
you have to agree he takes it too far. These are the best drivers in the world. Obviously, they're humans as well at the end of the day. Mistakes will happen occasionally. But you shouldn't be almost getting involved as many instances as Max potentially could be. Especially when you look back at like early 2017 and stuff.
To be fair, he's massively toned down the moving under.
He toned it down, don't get me wrong, a lot since then, yeah. But you shouldn't be getting in that many instances in the first place. In the way he was.
Yeah, but I think that's just the way he was brought up, to win at all costs. So that's what he always did. And I guess he never had the time in junior formulas to tone that down, because he came into F1 like 5 years before most people do. So he was doing that learning in Formula 1 in the spotlight when it's not really accepted. Unless you're the
Yeah,
FIA.
and this is the other thing, isn't it, with Max Verstappen? Because you think in Red Bull, he could have just ended up being another what if.
Mm.
Like, it's kind of insane, like, when you consider just how wildly different Red Bull's trajectories can be for drivers.
Yeah, but then they always could see that he was something special, for sure.
Yeah, no, exactly,
Like,
exactly.
3-4th places in that Toro Rosso, which was pretty dreadful.
Yeah, but 2015 was a weird year in terms of pace as well.
Strange.
Actually, Toro Rosso weren't that bad in 2015 either.
They were, like, at best 7th.
No, there were occasions where they were nearly as quick as Red Bull.
Yeah, but Red Bull were at best 5th that year.
5th? 4th?
So you had Mercedes were obviously the fastest, Ferrari were close second,
Yeah.
Williams were comfortable third.
I wouldn't say comfortable third, but they were third normally, yeah.
And then you had Red Bull in 4th.
Yeah.
And then Force India finished 5th, Lotus 6th, Toro Rosso 7th.
Yeah.
And
yeah. But Sainz was very unlucky that year as well, remember?
Sainz was incredibly unlucky, but Verstappen just doing what he did in that Toro Rosso, they could tell that he was going to be very, very good.
Oh yeah, of course. So, anyway,
anyway.
Back to this weekend, I suppose. Maybe we've spent a good 5 minutes ranting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both agree a 5 or a 10-second penalty would have been fair for Max there.
Yeah.
It's
I
very
didn't see
easy.
it live, but on the radio they were like, "That's going to be a penalty."
Yeah, and I think this is the thing, isn't it? I think FIA would have been a lot more hot water had Max won the Grand Prix, but this won't be remembered as one of those. It should have been a penalty because Lewis still got him.
And also had they taken any longer, like the next 10 laps or so after that, Hamilton wasn't really trying an overtake because he was pretty convinced he was going to get a penalty. So
I don't think he was convinced he wasn't going to get him. I think he was just refocusing and recharging, yeah. And just
but if he was just waiting behind, waiting for the penalty, and then they took the whole race deciding.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
And then didn't give one, and Hamilton has that to blame, doesn't he? But I guess it's all hindsight and
Exactly. Yeah, Hamilton I don't think ever gives up unless there's already been a penalty. We saw it Canada 2019, didn't we? I think Hamilton would have got Seb had he not got a penalty, because when things like that happen to him, he just sort of finds that another level, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he was definitely on another level this weekend, to be fair.
Yeah, this weekend.
I mean, definitely helped, and the Mercedes was the fastest car.
That Mercedes was the fastest car.
That Mercedes was with a new engine, yeah.
Well, this was the thing, wasn't it? I can't remember if I linked to the article or not. I think it was an Italian company. Now you can never really.
No,
it's a lot based on Ferrari. Yeah. They reckon that Mercedes power unit apparently is only designed to do 2,500 kilometers when normally they're designed to do 7,000.
Yeah,
they are running it at that high thresholds. It's like 1980s turbo cars. 1,500 horsepower for 2 laps.
Which surely has got some sort of reliability effect, because obviously they wouldn't risk anything for no reason, but there's got to be some sort of drawback of running it at that high pressure.
It doesn't last as long.
Yeah, but how sure are they going to be that it lasts 2.5k kilometers?
I do not even want to begin to imagine the testing they've done to make sure this thing works.
I suppose. But it would be so funny if there was an engine failure. I would laugh.
Well, this is the thing, though, isn't it, now? Because Mercedes look at that and go, well, we went from last to first at a track that's not completely power-orientated. You've got to be looking at...
Sort of is.
Saudi. It is, don't get me wrong, it's certainly no Monaco, but Interlagos, a lot of the track is still...
Quite
corners.
Speed, I guess. It's just low-speed corners and then massive straights.
Yeah,
there's not much
yeah.
in the middle.
They're not even massive straights, though, are they, in Interlagos?
Well, there's a whole 2 sectors where there's 2 massive straights.
Yeah, but no, neither straight is particularly that big, though, is my point. The front straight's only 1 kilometre, and the other one's got to be, what?
The track's about
600 metres. It's not 3.5 kilometres.
I swear it's not much longer than that.
It's got to be about just over 4 kilometres, isn't it? Like I'm going to guess 4.1. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to be looking at that and looking at Saudi and going, well, that track's just all straight.
Saudi track, I saw it got released when we were recording this today on F1 game, and it's literally you don't go below 4th gear the whole lap. It's just high-speed corners and massive straights, which I'm hoping is going to be a dirty air fest and just Red Bull get a pole.
There's no way Red Bull are getting pole there.
No, I don't think they will. But
although then again, we said this about Interlagos, didn't we?
Yeah.
You can't bring Belgium into this.
I mean, it was wet, but still they got pole.
You look at Monza is probably a fairer example, and Mercedes were clear cut that weekend.
Well, Verstappen gained points in the championship that weekend.
He did as well, didn't he? Through pure eggery. But anyway, last few laps though, obviously we're all hyped up because Hamilton's absolutely banged on Max. A brilliant move when he finally pulled it off.
It was a very good move, though. I mean, obviously the weave was going to happen because otherwise Verstappen was just going to send it again. So well within his rights, but it did look a bit aggressive. But then when
but
what he did, you can't
exactly. You're sort of the thing is as well, and I think a lot of people sort of wildly underestimate this in Formula One, is when Lewis looked at the inside and obviously Max defended it. That plays a big role in the way those two will drive in the final 4 races of the year.
Overhyping this hugely.
I'm not. I'm sorry. But I'm not. Like, Formula 1 drivers, this is how they think.
Verstappen does not let anything affect his mentality. We've seen this so
really
many times. In 2018, he
really
made 5 mistakes in 6
When
races.
has Verstappen been in this sort of pressure situation?
He doesn't feel pressure. He's built different.
He's never been put in this much of a pressure situation.
Yeah, but he doesn't, like, you see his interviews and everything. He's like, my life will go on if I don't win a championship. It's like,
Yeah,
he literally doesn't
how
care.
easy is that to say when
But
you're
he doesn't
missing
say
your
it.
breaking point into turn 4?
I mean, he didn't really miss his breaking point.
He completely missed the breaking point, Jamie. That's why they both went off by
He
like
was
30
just
yards.
determined to overtake Hamilton. He wasn't really looking for the breaking point.
I want to know how many 0.2 millimeters Max was away from that from the circuit. That's how many weekends he should be disqualified for. Like 6,000.
Honestly, this podcast is going to be so aggressive, whoever wins the title.
But yeah, so I mean, late on though, we saw Gasly jumped Ocon and Alonso. Late on means that AlphaTauri and Alpine went into the weekend tied on points and leave the weekend tied on points.
Yeah.
But it was Lewis ahead of Max, Bottas and Perez riding out your top 4 there. Ferrari's 5th and 6th. Ricardo 7th.
In the championship now. No,
yes,
Gasly
yeah.
7th.
Sorry, Gasly 7th, Alonso Ocon 8th and 9th. McLaren had a nightmare. Ricardo just
10th.
wasn't on pace.
Ricardo
Lando still... Yeah, Ricardo retired, didn't he? But Lando still picked up a point, which was a decent recovery from the start.
I don't see them getting 3rd off Ferrari now.
No, it's looking pretty safe,
saying
isn't
that,
it?
Jeddah could be like another Monza or Russia where they're just rapid.
Yeah, but Ferrari have brought engine upgrades since then.
Yeah, Ferrari are pretty good as well.
The one advantage McLaren had is kind of gone now, isn't it? Because of the Ferrari
behind,
power upgrade.
So they need some luck.
Basically in the last few races of the year. But yeah, another decent... Like we said, obviously, it wasn't the most exciting race in the world, apart from Hamilton.
It was still very enjoyable. Like, we take for granted these races in 2021, but you look at 2020 and most of the races were just horrific. So, like...
Yeah, no, it was definitely, don't get me wrong, a good race.
Fight for the lead and a winner from 10th on the grid, regardless how overpowered the car was compared to most of the other cars on the track.
Yeah.
But yeah, an enjoyable
this
race.
Is, again, though, the problem I have with people going, oh, he's got the best car. He's got the best car because Mercedes believe he's the best driver. People wildly underestimate Mercedes could have any driver on the grid if they wanted. And I mean anyone.
But I'm not saying it doesn't count because he's not the best car, but any Hamilton fan at Styria or at Zandvoort is like, oh, it doesn't count, I'm Red Bull's fastest.
No, I don't think... Again, I think... But this is sort of the thing, isn't it? Like, both Hamilton and Max deserve to have the fastest cars. They are the 2 best drivers in the sport, and they've got the 2 fastest cars.
Yeah.
But people do underestimate Mercedes.
I mean, it's annoying both ways. Obviously, I'm happier when Red Bull is clear, but when either car is comfortably the fastest on a weekend, it is annoying because you just sort of know what's going to happen.
Yes, yeah.
It's the races like
for the
France
most part.
and where else? Like even Silverstone to an extent where they're very similar paced.
Kota as well was pretty close.
Yeah, Kota was good.
Shame it's an egg circuit, but still. But yeah, heading though to Loadcell this weekend, Jamie. Still find it odd the fact...
Oh, Qatar, yeah.
Qatar, yeah, the Loadcell International Circuit. Still find it odd the fact this is part of a triple header, and then they're literally going Saudi and Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, why is
they
the
got a week
better
off.
not the last 3? That would be mad drama.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Loadcell, though, is actually a quite twisty little circuit, and I think a lot of people underestimate just how twisty it is because the only thing we've ever really seen it on is MotoGP.
Yeah, and it's trash on MotoGP according to our MotoGP correspondent as well. So,
yes. Yep, but then again, he thinks Ross is trash, so we don't really trust him.
Yeah, we don't believe our correspondent that closely.
Exactly, bless him.
Yeah.
I think Loadcell is gonna be the race that swings it one way or the other.
I mean, we say this about every race. What's the gap now? 14?
14. I'm willing to say whichever driver wins Loadcell wins the championship. I cannot wait for Bottas or Perez to win it.
Imagine they
Hamilton and Max
like,
come together.
Norris wins, doesn't they?
But yeah, if Lewis or Max wins Loadcell, they're winning the championship.
It looks like a B-Tech Bahrain.
It does look a bit like Caesar's Palace, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just Caesar's Palace in a desert. Caesar's Desert.
Caesar's Palace was in Las Vegas, which is known for being a city built in the desert.
Yeah. Well, it's all connected. Maybe we're just going there.
Maybe, yeah, but this is why it's part of the triple header. Because it's not actually in South America. In Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's not even in Saudi Arabia, it's in Qatar, yeah. Oh, dearie me.
Looking at the track map, which is obviously the best way to judge a circuit, it looks like a Red Bull circuit, I want to say.
I think normally we'd say that, but it kind of has similar characteristics to Interlagos as well.
Yeah, very long straights.
It's not completely low speed. It's not very long straights, but there are a couple of straights. But middle speed corners, it should be very even, shouldn't it?
It
just depends.
Because the straight line speed has been so weird this season. Because there's been some places where Red Bull has quicker straight line speed just because they run no wing and still have loads of downforce. And then at Brazil, the Mercedes was so much quicker in the straight.
It really depends, I think, this weekend on how powerful that Mercedes unit is still.
Yeah, because it will have lost its edge, because we always see it does.
Yeah. Unless, of course, they've done complete German engineering to it, and it's going to have like 1 million horsepower for 1,000 years.
They're Ferrarying it and getting away with it.
I don't quite think they're Ferrarying it. Other quick news, apparently Daz is back. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter, being posted around everywhere.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, a little bit of play in the steering rack, that's there, so if a driver crashes, the steering wheel doesn't kill them. Apparently that's now DAS 2.0.
Nah,
You'll love to see it. Yep, disqualifying. What else? We've had McLaren being bought out by Audi and then not being bought out by Audi, apparently.
They've been under new ownership and now not, and still are kind of. It's very confusing. But either way, Audi look set to join the sport in some capacity within the next few years.
I think we're going to see a McLaren-Audi team.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
We've seen McLaren Honda, we've seen McLaren Mercedes, we've seen McLaren Renault, and McLaren Audi just makes sense.
Am I
both financially.
Audi and Volkswagen Group are the same?
No, maybe. I think you are right. Even.
Yeah, I am right. So I saw also that Volkswagen are interested in Red Bull powertrains, which would make a lot of sense, I think.
God, yeah, this gets really confusing, doesn't it?
Because you've got Audi McLaren, or McLaren Audi, and then Red Bull Volkswagen is the same.
Red Bull Porsche it'll be, probably.
Yeah.
God, yeah, that does get complicated, doesn't it? It's not as bad as when Audi and Porsche used to race at Le Mans together.
It's like as bad as when Team Lotus and Lotus Renault were on the grid together.
Yeah. That's very confusing now, isn't it? In terms, though, of that Audi buyout that might or might not be happening, honestly, again, as long as they change the name to McLaren Audi, I think it's a really good move.
Yeah, and McLaren
need the money.
As big as they are, they still need good investment, and it's ways to secure that, basically.
We know they've been financially struggling in recent years. Like the fact they had to sell the building to rent it back out and things like that. I'd rather see
world champions anymore.
Well, Lando's getting there. I don't know why they've employed Ricciardo still. But yeah, I think McLaren, I think, is a good move. A lot of people are going, but we lose an iconic name from the grid. And they're like,
don't.
Audi are not stupid.
To say that we don't.
Exactly. We get McLaren for another 20 years rather than maybe another 5 or 10.
Yeah.
It's a wise move from them.
Yeah, Audi aren't stupid. Like they've left Lamborghini alone enough. So.
Exactly. Well, they just do all the engineering behind it and then let Lamborghini do the brochure, don't they?
And the design, and just make it look mental.
As Richard Hammond used to say. It's got 1 million horsepower and cannons.
It's got lasers to get rid of the rain.
Oh, fun times. But yeah, top 3 predictions then for Loadcell, Jamie.
I'm going to say Verstappen because I'm really original.
Yep.
And Hamilton because I'm also really original.
May I point out I got more of my predictions correct at
Yeah, but that's just based on who wins, because we always predict each other. We always predict Verstappen and Hamilton to win.
Didn't I put Bottas P3?
I don't know. I think I said Perez. So, but then I would have been right if the VSC hadn't screwed Perez over. So
yeah,
I'm taking that.
I think possibly. I don't know. But
Verstappen, Hamilton. The top four has been so boring recently. They've all been the same. Like, we've not had an interesting podium sitter in a while.
It's just because Perez has been consistent again.
Yeah.
So you're going Verstappen, Hamilton.
I'll go Verham-Bot.
You're going Verham-Bot, are you?
Yeah.
I am going to go Ham-Ver-Bot.
Yep. Back again.
I think Mercedes... This chat ain't over, boys. 3 races to go. 14 points in it. Like I said, Loadcell's going to decide this thing, I think.
Yeah. If Verstappen wins the next race, he can finish second the last 2 and win the title.
Yes, yeah.
Which is a very nice place to be in when he's finished second easily every race this season that he's actually
finished. And I think this will be why Hamilton's desperate to win. Because if Hamilton wins all 3 Grand Prix,
then it's in both
he wins the title.
Really, yeah.
They're both in full control of their own destiny. Just got to
no more
beat the Dutchman.
To avoid weekends as well.
I mean, it will be kind of insane, isn't it? Because you think of a lot of examples in the past. This might be the time when everyone thought the baton's being handed over, and it isn't.
It will be really annoying. I will genuinely be upset for weeks if Hamilton wins a title.
Really?
Yeah. Because I've gone through so many stages of convincing myself Verstappen's going to win it.
It has been... It's one of those really... It's a bit like Ferrari and McLaren, I think, in the battle for P3. Like, you're not really sure how they've stayed as close as they have, but they are, and now they're... I just feel like there's a slow bit of the tide moving the other way.
But we said that after Mexico, that it was Max's to lose now.
Yeah, and it still is. Max has got a 14-point lead.
But Mercedes had come to be the quickest car in Brazil. If they have the quickest car the last 3 races, what can you do apart from finish second?
Well, exactly.
Like, it's
so
dependent
second,
on
mate.
how quick. Also, how many? So it's 14 points.
Yep.
So Hamilton wins 2 races.
Yep.
Verstappen second.
Yep.
Taken out of context, like getting rid of fastest laps for a second.
Yep.
And then if Hamilton wins Qatar and Saudi, they go level into Abu Dhabi.
Yep.
With Verstappen leading on countback, I assume.
Yep.
Wins.
One more win still.
So if Verstappen just detonates them both, we'll have a tie.
And I think if he did that, he'd get disqualified from the championship.
But if he does it in a discreet way,
I don't think the FIA are going to allow a discreet way for him to win the title.
It'd be very amusing.
I say that, and I go, well, Verstappen completely rammed him off the road.
Yeah.
And they let that slide. What,
they've got
what
no
am I
bottom
thinking?
when it comes to big decisions at all.
Yeah, Michael Massey's just going to go, I'm sorry, Jonathan Wheatley. I didn't realise this was hard racing. I completely forgot Hamilton and Max Verstappen were even in a championship battle this weekend.
Imagine they crash on that one. The rest of the race would just be videoing of Michael Massey with the team radio between the team and the FIA the whole time.
Yeah, and this is the problem, isn't it?
Perez winning the race. Like,
Hamilton said, this sort of thing never happened. Like, there was never...
Because
before the end of the season, Seb would bottle it anyway.
Yeah, but there was always the sort of knowledge in the back of your head that Mercedes had them at arm's length if they wanted to, almost.
No, not through a lot of 2017.
2018, I guess, yeah.
2017 a bit more, but 2018...
Ferrari put an upgrade on that made it slower, which was funny.
That was 2018.
No, that was 17.
Was that 17? You sure?
Yeah, when they put an upgrade on after Malaysia for Japan, which they DNF'd every race anyway, but...
No, that was 2018, because Ferrari had a much quicker car down the straights for a lot of the year, and then suddenly didn't anymore. Yeah, no, that was definitely 2018. But yeah, there's just that sense with Max, isn't there? Like we said tonight, his will to win. It's just a bit too
much more well-oiled team than Ferrari. They're a lot less chaotic, you feel like.
At the moment, for now.
Yeah.
They're also a team that gave Daniel Ricciardo 7 engine failures in a row.
Yeah. That was Renault. We don't hold Honda accountable.
No. Well, I'd be amazed if you hold Honda accountable for that. They had nothing to do with it, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... I don't want to think about that scenario until we get there.
I absolutely do.
I mean, it could be an absolute fizzle out from now. Hamilton might have an engine failure at Loadcell, and then Max just wraps up the title in Saudi. Like,
that'd be lovely. I'll take that.
That could happen. It wouldn't. I'd rather it the other way around.
I've already asked for a Christmas present of a Verstappen title celebration display, so I bet he better.
Have you actually? Have you actually done that?
Well, not officially, but my parents were asking me what I want. I was like, yeah, if he wins the title, get me this.
I desperately want to see Hamilton win up to now, but now even more. Like that guy that got a tattoo of Max Verstappen 2021 World
so
Champion.
Bad.
They're like, I just pray now more than ever. Like that motivates me more than like as much as I want to see Hamilton win. It's not the end of the world if he doesn't for me, but it's things like that they're like, actually, you know what, I do want to see him win even more now.
I will be so annoyed until at least January. Like, genuinely.
Yeah, no, that's what makes me want to see Hamilton do it.
There'll be no podcasts until winter testing.
Oh, dearie me. Anything else to add, though, Jamie, before we wrap this one up?
Don't think so.
Quite a
one, but then there was a sprint weekend, so we allow it.
Exactly. Congratulations to Guan Yu Zhou on his Alfa Romeo drive.
What a driver.
Rich, Chinese-backed, mid-Formula 2 driver. Oscar Piastri, your time's coming. Hello to my best friend Callum Isler. I'm sure you're watching this as well,
I'm sure he's watched a minute 57 of this podcast.
Exactly. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching nonetheless. We'll be back next time out ready to review the Qatar Grand Prix. Is it the Didgeridoo Qatar Grand Prix or whatever it's called?
Isn't it Aramco? Or is
No, that's Saudi. What's it called again? It's got the worst name I think I've seen in recent years. It is the Ooredoo Qatar Grand Prix.
Ooredoo?
OOREDOO.
Oh, Ooredoo. Yeah, I do remember seeing that, actually. The Didgeridoo Qatar Grand Prix.
The Didgeridoo Qatar Grand Prix. We'll be back very, very soon.
Well, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah, good. Okay, Jamie's just decided he's had enough. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Jamie's checked out, but we'll be back next week. Maybe he'll be here, maybe he won't. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.